one on the car.
I said,
I saw your mate in Quadia, and you're carrying one son out here. And I'm your Obakasa Homaimu was he like me no? Me ba, me ya fiwa. But as I say, I know. I even a walk. Ya walk now me ya fiwa. I wanna kasa ya batozo abano. As one I was here. Never I am done as a bar. Over the yellow video fiwa. Yilabi ayadai and a bar Ghana. Nina if you want casa. Nina if you want casa. Young Rabbi present. Nina if you want casa.
The number one station in the capital. Hot 93. Hot 93.9.
Lock it in. More news. More information.
Hot. Morning drive. The number one hot presenter in the nation. 93.9. Your hot radio station.
While the others keep on talking, we keep on rocking.
Hot 93.9.
Something and really cool.
Back to today's highlight at R&B
on 93.9. Rush hour.
You're listening to the After Drive Show on Hot FM.
Sports Beds.
Listen to Hot Sports, the number one sports program in the nation.
Don't touch that dial.
Hot.
Lock it in.
93.9.
You've never heard radio like this.
To do, and that is with all my strength, all my energy to help the new flag bearer, to help Mamadou Bawumia win the election of 2024. Ghana cannot afford the return of the NDC, especially under the leadership of John Dramani Mahama. I've done my best, but I still have one more task to do. And that is with all my strength, all my energy to help the new flag bearer, to help Mamadou Bawumia win the election of 2024.
Hot 93.9.
Hot FM 93.9. Hot FM 93.9.
Meus antepassados todos nasceram aqui, filhos legítimos do mundo rainha.
Hot FM 93.9.
Hot 93.9.
Tanzania oye, oye, Rika Zambia oye,
Hot 93.9.
Somalia oye,
Hot 93.9. Hot 93.9.
meus antepassados todos nasceram aqui, filhos legítimos do mundo rainha. Minha África, oye, oye, sinto-me orgulhoso de ser africano. Meus antepassados todos nasceram aqui, filhos legítimos do mundo rainha. Minha África, oye, oye,
Hot 93.9.
oye, oye, Guiné-Bissau, oye,
Hot 93.9.
Guiné-Conakry, oye, 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 Rica Argélia, oye, oye,
Hot 93.9.
de ser africano.
Hot 93.9.
Nasceram aqui,
Hot 93.9.
do mundo rainha.
Hot FM 93.9.
Sinto-me orgulhoso de ser
Hot FM 93.9.
nasceram aqui, filhos legítimos do mundo rainha. Minha África, oye, Ethiopia, oye.
Hot FM 93.9. Yeah, bomb and
Nigeria, oye. Mauritania, oye. Sinto me orgulhoso de ser africano.
Hot 93.9 FM Sonaria Memoha. Don't kwa bapa simani duba ko pepepe ewa hawe ye mo hai. Na yakoso aka se Biom dwumadie na sabri atena se debreo. Enne brother February so mene de toso dumiensa fimpinu ne aduno nan. Medini agyeso ansa. Biom dwumadie so sabri metras na afmede ho chiam he na we ye Ghana manyosem. Amanyo se metwa go my Ghana musimadi kan ka say 2024 abato afi emu ne we ne duru abato afi say dia nessa amanyo sem no ye ni gidigidi ba bia parties no bia what dey nye yo sesie mu no na ogro ho a we party bi na sa ogro ho a yetimi te kwakwa emane ye yes sesie ka say yes yetimi te kwakwa amane ye fi say 1 to 2 ne ma ye ba bia ne ma hye ba bia gie no e say uyito no sa ogro ho na atena se ye hwe ha wani beba ho so say masa wo de no ye do aye hanamo ntie say mo ani da ho ewie bebre ni ahye de bro ba bia wo bia sabre kosi say no miensa ebebo Biom dwumadie so ne ye de bro nenkita odi no mu do pa say parties no bia na monto wo to ye monitor parties ne papa de wo kan say obeya obaya wantumi anye menim say bia fe ne be pia blem ne dia ma baako ana ye dia to obi na so dia said the okan no sa pepepe yes brashe be ye call parliament house awie make us empanifo asinkonya de sit ne koso na yes asen no fampo ne wan wona ora sevensa e dey asma na se ada mo dan call parliament house yeah yati Aropanda bonkrata mu sen bebre na bae na enkitaudie brain ye beje brain afi ye di honkomo ensem na igua pronson doso pa edru sabre ye kwen no wan kasa so ye Ghana ni die ye kira dwene na atwe ho ye kira dwene wan kire bi ye de tutu ye no amo ame amfa anto ya se toyo antoyo masa ade na otimbi ebe wi kire be kwatia wa enti ye sinkunya se ni ye kire adwene ye to adwene pacho we nya seni na atwe ho a hwa sebe nkwasiafo na hyehye mra bone amo ababedizu efiao enti twe ho beka so abeka na sem da bi se no obetimi ya enti da bi ni afa nza o sede ude wasem besi ato no sa pepepe ene ebe papa mu tutu nsre ni abasa na de obeka no kra no obeji bra kire ho baby pa ana se kwankwa abefa so a de o ka kire no obetimi ya ye ni nya ebebusa ansa ne decide well say beto aba ye obi ni wo ho a omo de party ni kra anya manifesto a beto aba yes because ono akasa we party ni we party no eno nti party asem kwa na woka papa oboni mo party ene onkrofo bi so ho a ene enye party asem o message a wode ba sa asem ne to asomu a ye gitum ne ya eno so no obegina de ato aba enye nsem e bi e be ka se ye nkanto Ghana fo de o eduru abato so akade kan bibi huhu magana ni nka so betumi aye oba no anye kra anye hwe fi so ne Ghana fo na edilie ya te awie ebeje brana afie didi nkomo pi ekita odi ebe koso yi obetumi do ade nkyere na ba na akwanya beba why na onso wetumi a kyere wadwene wo so bie
Hot FM 93.9. Hot FM.
Hot 93.9. Hot 93.9. Hot 93.9. Hot 93.9. Hot 93.9.
na awia kwanya ne bana senkita odie brene dura ye hwe ni mu say on the side of the NDC Haruna Maliba ewa ha awia senkita odie oka ho bi sanso so na NPP Ellen Amadeko ebeba beken ho a member of the NPP National Communications team but before ade senkita odie so ko be behye so ha na emasogafo no omatena se omukoya omubaye sete no de omadi kan akra ba be boso ansa ne mpo empanifo satena se biem no mba no mso mate se yese 11 ya de ade no ye to aba ma the current vice president oba be yi sa ne mane free ho well yengra ma shebe fiasa ne ni nkomo kakra elho na member of parliament edema time constituency abato mpeso aso time abato mpeso aso honorable Suleiman Adam na yene ni nkomo kakra minority side no anaboti enka mo highway
mejo semenia
no apum
nyame adomboko
ye do ba de ase senka mo koba se ya ne egu apono so nya agro fele nka mo be yi ni makoma ana
yeguso yi ni makoma
koba se da che bia yesa be yi levy afrim no ama akomo na bia na
ano asema vice president about me ade tu dwai the only conclusion ewo ho ne say MPsa ewo majority side omo ekontokwa ede enyoma bu akwa mu pass levy against Ghana for nyina wishes no against the minority wishes no ye ba omi aka ye kire say they are not fit for purpose. Omu ni chamber ho so omu ba be Ghana for ho ban. Omu ni chamber ho emanipa to abano mo no. Omu chamber ho for omu parochial political interest. Enumpo no na Dr. Baomi aka che omu say sabi mpediasa ensemhunu na omu ni Ghana for adi no. Enti e say enyoma minority side ye kanu bebre no yadea e say na ban fa na so ban fa enti ne e kan kire woni say sabi mpediasa MPP MPs no they are useless. Chamber.
Remember, and I was like, why wouldn't you say never be say on parliamentary? They will can say I say what boom fia.
If something is not useful,
useless.
No, if something is not useful, then what just any MPs is useful because when the passing 11 no, or no the DNM MA pass, or no the DNM passing 11 no, and a vice president say, oh no, bad. Obey 11 free ho nanu ya enyo mu ne di anim ema ye pass emission levy no emission levy ya budget ye pass in December ya the whole minority caucus ye tuti aye all the majority caucus etoma ye ene oso oba taxa omo pass ye mosime mi ensa kura ma ye oso oba obey ye free ho oba obey taxa da betting so everywhere. No, so now you pass you. And if you are useful, why would the vice president want to undo the things that you have done? And it's time we start telling ourselves.
Is it say be a vice president with the outcry of Ghanaians? Ghana 4 TM say na a panel. It be as say mate the cry of Ghanaians. Intino akwanya ne ba obeyi afro. Ana
mama you remfi. Enyoma levy faso. A passé here. Levy brought fiscals our parliament ho. Levy transcended legislature no echo judiciary, the apex court. In fact, one case our Levy no go so Supreme Court. You mama yaraga mo de call say kwan e fa so a omo pass Levy omo ni kwan no e go so Supreme Court. Levy and a man executive no organize town hall meetings. Spending millions of Ghana cedis. Say they are trying to educate Ghanaians. Levy and a man buying kukusi katudie Emma MPs and one majority say Obi anko ni constituency enko educating the man for. So what feedback did they get? I'm passing Levy now. And no answer. Yes, see, only a fool doesn't change his mind. But see, when you see danger,
Hot 93.9. Hot 93.9.
And I'm baby, I want to answer after the Wahoma and Mutu Krana.
Yes, but my council went here.
Okay.
Hot 93.9. Hot
Hello?
93.9.
Hello, yes.
After the
Yame can say, oh, whom were Payam could do money way, Emma now. Now, where was the vice president? I mean, the least said about him, the better. Where was he? Emra, yeah, passing 11. In fact, if I could do a punk room, who say, now he bisa, because nobody can before our vice president to say, Nipa Ayosu Momono, they are the vulnerable in the society. Into a mono and say a taxi mumu.
But maybe anyway, Nanuya, Sauhaya, Netto Besse, Munubi Crack Trinity, but Sa and we see Levine and Kanya Levine, the Adi, Nankebe. Quickly, Omahu ye said Ghana for no, I want to know, and to know, which the sign of a listening government, Anna.
Debbie neighbor is a sign of a desperate government with a desperate presidential candidate.
As it's trying to say.
Just why desperate for power, say. Adia, Ghana for can you be our Muso Muntino, and then you so betty. If you should be careful, this is a manner or the vice president, there are no lectures on. Or say the fundamentals will expose you when you are the essay route to explain when the fundamentals are weak. Or when you oppose you, or say the essay rate, if the essay rate is weak, it doesn't mean the fundamentals are bad. So he just turned 360. All on a country and say, don't tax Momo because vulnerable group and the Wusu. Obaya, as head of the government team, part of the government, and no more taxing Momo. And all the papa will be, as I can't tell, say, may you Momo tax in every hole.
Hot 93.9.
May you also emission levy will be a new free hole. Because we have passed it in parliament. If you want to pass tax in parliament, we pass it for you. If you want to take away the tax in parliament, you come back.
But
almost
say ma pass a cry nyadia o mo se Ghana for e mo din nyadia o me implementing
this. It's part of the rules. It's part of our laws. Because every tax come in the form of a law, and it's part of the law. And if they really believe it, they should come to parliament and say, "Okay, in any tax waiver, we are withdrawing it."
Now for the
Hot 93.9.
Government and use tax inflow. What they have said, they say they want to go and engage IMF. No one who near IMF. No, so they say IMF gave them an option. Option, they say either you pass these taxes now for and I reduce expenditure now for and I'm not for about me. I say, yeah, you better pass the tax, I'm a young crop for one child. And remember, these are not the only taxes. From production, from transition to production, they have introduced over 50 taxes.
Hey, say,
look, I am telling you, if you like, Kota there, now heard the number of taxes are also VAT import duties, COVID-19 recovery levy. All the taxes are bound with the actual. So the last budget cycle and sent away by 2022 budget and sent away by they impose a lot of taxes there. They are going to say this time I'm who Ghana formable because Omoanka said himself according to World Bank because of Ahotewe you're pushing over 700,000 Ghanaians into the poverty line. Almost there be they want to increase revenue, tax revenue by 11 billion. 11 billion. Now, or my rebate of 200 million. Now, or increasing the tax revenue by 11 billion. So clearly, it is the power. And Dr.
Okay.
So it is time for desperation. It is not because they are listening to Ghanaians. No, desperate time.
Sir Pan or Shadia, when who say Ghana for the Bakwe say a minimum capacity now can be business or won't cut it down government expenditure. The minimum ministers in the door, so as I say, or they about 50 and you're allowed a laudable idea.
Or they about
50.
You see, a communication officer, here is a medium fee. From 2017, consistently, he has been on this government over the number of ministers. 125. So I'm not going to say, or say, or pentem, and tem now pay, Your debt to GDP every 57%, equal over 100%. Inflation every 15%, equal 54%. Now na ba be do 23%. Yeah,
Hot 93.9.
every indicator over here, our mamu we mono. I say, every 125 minutes, they say, what yaba from? Now, no, President Mahama, visionary Mahama, actually, in your bar, obey, ya, Adia Bawe, Adia Pie, copy. Nanka copy crown, I will copy in here, Nanka Yahu. Quarter cost amount to Martin in the Dr. Baumia also bar, obey 15 minutes, and now call the officer over 24 assistants and aides. Now, Nipa way over 24 assistants and aides, or promise 25 minutes, it is all promises say within 18 months there will be no town a fear any toilet and water problem and toilet and water project 20 million or be promises say or no say 1 million per constituency no obi ankwaje dey wa ankwajo dia ebesano don't blame government me wan so only the sika over bia and all the lies are about where they have to Ghana for so or the shed Dr. Baumiano and no over Catherine say or be ministers 50 we take it with a pinch of salt because no office grano nipa 24 no
okay where there or no or say any vision but there almost busana say more the 24-hour economy aba muntimi ntrechire mun kantre Ghana for say 24-hour economy ni say ne pese ye kire ana moten nkwanche na mo ka bi
oh minia 24-hour economy there why person oti asese no when we say it's a policy a game changer a policy nencha say a simple pa ye de ma Ghana fo bebre na yesi so obi sa wa asa na otan wa na wa chia ne pan when we say ye more 24-hour economy so no mo vice president no 24-hour economy is already in the system. Top bars are doing 24-hour economy. These are doing 24-hour economy. He doesn't understand what we mean. The first concept is about employment creation. To have 3 shifts of 8 hours each. Sani beya ajumano say ofa nipa 24.
Hot 93.
Say 24-hour economy demands say ube improve on the infrastructure. To say power, to say water, to say all the other utilities are you be here for industries to work. O ma we mu you have in Nkrumah why na oye infrastructure head e wa ha oye infrastructure John Mahama and your promise 24-hour economy na say he will deliver. I say Obama incentives to individual private companies are on person almost subscribe onto the 24 economy. I say government sector you provide some services you know cost line a queue for a long time because you know say in the 24 hours throughout the 24 hours those services will be available. It will be there. If you look at employment, if you look at provision of infrastructure, if you look at incentives private sector just to be the engine of growth. The game changer is the 24-hour economy. There's a whole document, there's a whole policy document on 24-hour economy. Public sector, private sector, Obia will be affected, Obia will enjoy, Obia will come on board. Any Oman will be free, but they be the same thing. Get results, I say if you want to do the same thing several times to get different results, then Sabi, there's something wrong with you.
Okay.
So John Mama is bringing something that is a game changer, and that game changer thing came from the general secretary of the TUC. Because after looking at the policy, you realize that man, John Mahama, is a visionary.
Why would MP Bakwama message say to use the word MPs near useless no would not parliament house and count me can't and one pass and hot FM Biom so we are so do me the Wutinia Kase MPs near useless.
I didn't say MPs are useless everywhere. As one who be a specific question about the passage of the e-levy. Why when they pass the e-levy, no?
Some of the parliament house on
the passing e-levy, parliament and passing here, but you know him say, a MPs in the passing parliament, no? You have Bachadia ever home, Saukai. You have Bachadia ever e-levy, no? Yes, not e-levy, no, and yet, Agya, and you know, a useless. Into a passing, you know. And Dr. Baumia say they were useless in passing it. I'm not saying the MPs are useless, but they were useless in passing the e-levy.
I don't know that's it. Why?
Yeah,
that's it. We're a member of parliament, Edema or Man for a Thai constituency. Your friend Hannah Suleiman Adams on a real nene tricking como. Parliament House YSD, a monkey town dear doors, your bedbre, your bebo room, and Kitaudia no sono, as yes, Shen or Hanafi, the bro, pepper, city. Now a real Kitaudia Cranswaha, Professor Kwame Hanaku Ado, a development architect. Where NDC Keda a ray or come waha now and Kitaudia de Banner. Say, I so about will buy one day say infrastructure development. Say, now a ray prof waha or see no money be a big so. I be why best shock you. We are gonna need the answer will be all crowd in Koso. Says Annette. Yes, and no money be a while. It be a ho, Nance Wadrin in Koso. Yane prof bet was wa.
Apomode mapadie eno ane Hepa Plus mixture.
Pavi Plus Mox. Hepa Plus mixture. To malaria and asekra.
Sweet darling,
my beautiful baby.
Hepa Plus mixture ye busie ya no mama hoden aba. Busu mi pini menti ase me do.
Tie Hepa Plus mixture enya adwuma ebe ye woni padua no mu no. Afie kra na ebe ye nwanwa mo. Aduro ye ma general well-being. Abusua pomodin ho hia me yie. Esne bibia. Entimi manom pefia ha.
She, oye, Hepa Plus husband.
You the one Hepa Plus husband, and you also we Hepa Plus wife. Na abano Hepa Plus mixer. My dear ready pa. Pavi Plus Mox. And na Hepa Plus nyina. A pin for about or more manufo. And kwada we ni fie du mienu ka ho. Our pharmacies na Heba shop. At phone for 0542 778 572 and 0549 297-463. Hepa Plus mixer.
When I wake up in the morning, I brush my teeth with Kale Charcoal toothpaste. This gives me confidence all day.
Anytime you meet Amma, don't be surprised I smile showing my beautiful white teeth because I don't have tartar or cavity thanks to Kale Charcoal toothpaste for its natural charcoal properties. In fact, we are like twins. I can't go without my Kale Charcoal toothpaste.
That be why I use Kale Charcoal toothpaste morning and night when I go bed safe. It make my teeth white where it comot every scent from my mouth inside. My confidence level they go up, so I show my 32 teeth all.
Introducing the Kale Charcoal toothpaste, formulated with activated bamboo charcoal powder, ensures whiter teeth and removes bad breath. The strong natural property of the activated bamboo charcoal removes bacteria, absorbs surface stains on our teeth caused by coffee, wines, and tobacco. Welcome, Kale Charcoal toothpaste. Kale Charcoal toothpaste. Sankofa Yenchi.
Kale, happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Hot 93.9. Hot 93.9. Hot 93.9. Hot 93.9. Hot 93.9. Hot 93.9.
Yamati for Aquabana, Yanto Asum Free and Kitaudia Nebeba, said a medical atujano. A ream penify no musin Konoha. Haruna Malibayo, how ND Cinema Pa, Watnase, Communication, National Communication Team no count. Samson and Mrs. Elena Made Conswatnase, NPP Communications Team no so a company for Nubiano, a re Watnase, Elha. Na before, na Yashi say ya, Yane Prof Bidding Komokakra. We say NDC Kedano, Prof Mo, Anna Agya. Keda for. You say Keda no rank woman can make us and rank nebe say be a 17 krana. Nina abubona battery. Prof Akwaba, but a bit me. Microphones name be a bet dear baby. Now pump to say. Mike no man no check it.
Sit here. Take this.
Okay.
Hot 93.9.
You don't want peace, so.
One MPP, Prof. Name.
Why was send this phone papers?
I didn't.
That's not here. Meeting head dear. May dream.
Count me.
Also more coming.
Yes.
The party bar. Papers.
On papers. Okay, there is.
Maleba in the prof.
On the prof.
Omunyame na menyeme ho.
Ba prof the papers ba. Prof, you are welcome.
Hi, Prof.
Now, say ene vantia na atwi ni na obeka no mo
yebeka ene de yebeka brofo na so asem no
asem na de no
technical maybe say there will be a time when we listen to those things.
Okay. But say ya enta nto nka wo sheda ne ko hide out na
oh debi na me wa Ghana
samu
na so say ejuma no say me diaspora activities and projects, architectural projects.
Okay. Okay. There's a diaspora there. No, I take you time more. And
say diaspora is a very important.
That's right.
Component for our development because we are now trying to understand how we can really get proper investments.
That's
because we have been faulted elsewhere, so we have to now turn to our own brothers and sisters.
Okay.
But it's not as simple as that.
And yes, simple as but say mostly NDC kida for no pa first now say I say a prof na baby na prof ben kra NDC professors in the doors pa professor Kwame Hanaku Ado enewie okenwa but ono ne fill the pie sa infrastructure ne sa no man. Now that's where a Jumana Kasa for the partner in terms of what and
the things I'm doing with the diaspora are actually independent.
Okay.
It is more to do with galvanizing people from around the world who are Africans living outside of their continent.
Okay.
So I'm also a graphic designer. I deal with imagery.
Okay.
So I've been trying to also establish a common flag and image for people to identify a particular source so that they can rally behind.
Okay.
Because we have to first, everything begins with a rallying point. So I've just finished, at least we've been able to come up with the diaspora flag, the 6th region of Africa. You know, there used to be 5 regions in Africa: West, East, Southern, Central, and East. Yes, but now there's the 6th region, which is the diaspora. And that 6th region now is an official part, an integral part of the African Union. And I've been fortunate to play a very key role in at least making the flag, designing the flag, so that it can start to represent all the 350 million people of African descent outside.
That's right. But from the others, because but still or try or the fra or the fra mine. The prof now the womb kakra and the mine yeah catchment no. But one thing sunye. Kida time kida muye you say kida to a point. As actually you see a new NDC. Is it true?
You see, I was even watching your beautiful flyer, and I saw that you had put down the Akeda.
Yeah.
And I was even asking, how do people even interpret what a Akeda is?
Better than
yes, and I was even asking, and I was saying how people can but really, it's just an issue of comradeship, of people having a common cause to come together to be able to see how they can advance. Course. That is how the issue of it is based upon comradeship, really. And I think at the end of the day, it also came out of a situation in those times in the late 70s when Ghana too was going through its turbulent times again. So that is how come all of those things come through.
Now, you're now teaching not debate a course in terms of infrastructure. And I want to wait me you can't how we see now cry see university say oh guy almost saying na cry NDC meaning say actually the debate between MPP and NDC in terms of infrastructure yeah we said that now you anyhow.
In fact, you see, infrastructure is the one thing that everybody agrees upon, both NDC and MPP. Everybody, you need infrastructure. That one, it doesn't have any color, because when you put on a road, it's not a road for only NDC or MPP people to be driving on it. And also, it also sends a proper message that at least we are also patriotic, because those are some of the moments where we can all try to come out and say that certain things have to be done. So it's going to depend upon each party and their angle and their understanding and how they really want to project this infrastructure. You see, there are different types of infrastructure. You have the linear infrastructure, which are the things that are moving us along. And then you have social infrastructure, which is clearly connected with all the social activities, including the hospitals and schools. But there's all infrastructure. But infrastructure is such a broad phrase. It goes even into agriculture, into technology, and literally everything, tourism, the creative arts, everything. For you to begin, you actually have an infrastructure plan.
Okay. But since Dr. Bamia out Ebekasa, shaky the fundamentals of the NDC. Do you see it that way? And I want it. Dr. Bomiaba, boom, you know, that's more the Bebano as a shaky the fundamentals of the party. When your time and monitor the speech nibi. Mututu. Moje Bray analyze Dr. Bamia, the speech.
Actually, I'll be frank. I have not been doing that because you see, I'm very much embedded more in really how we can see our nation moving to another level.
But I know you are fast moving the nation.
I know. And the beautiful thing about us in Ghana here is that we have spent a lot of time looking at ourselves, yes, and trying to see and trying to criticize. But unfortunately, too, there should be a moment for us to see how we can chart a path. You see, and this path is very critical now more than ever, because everybody would claim that they have a path, but in the end, nobody reveals the real path. And when somebody sets a path, some people say they won't go on it. So I've realized that there's one thing that accused to all of us, the boundaries of Ghana and all the infrastructure that should happen, that should interconnect us. It's just a matter of all of us agreeing.
Obiama message said Rofone Dos Untino. Once I Ghana need the ultimate casa like a kind of frame. A quana and I'm so na ebia unwe bidim di.
What's it?
Sequana and I'm so now the path I will be a person in the but as a Dr. Bamia, you say intellectual base, more than come out for hearing him say, okay. Baumia say this is the policy, and this is say this is our policy. The Baumia buy and can go for him. Yes, and I know the other buy say Masha Dako that the academia in the NDC, professor and doctors no Marco Pebebiashe.
I understand. Again, I'll just go nicely and explain that you see the type of interaction I want to have today really is we're trying to understand how we can get ourselves out of a situation in the nation. And we can continue doing our debate. And it cannot go.
This is a situation being
yes, I know. And so the idea is that I have not really analyzed and listened carefully to what is going on, but I can see. You see, always I say that if you cannot see where you want to go, you may not get there. So when I step out of my home and I see all the potholes, I realize that yes, we are not getting out. When I see all the people waiting with transportation problems, I can know there's a problem. We can really see the real things. And remember, with infrastructure, when something critical happens, it affects all of us. You see. So now, as it is, we just hope that while we are talking on, we should all try to understand that peace is very, very key. There's peace that is going to be very key for all of us. But you see, now in the world, there's no peace. As they say, everywhere is hot. Yes. And so we also have to look into ourselves, because despite all the overwhelming situation or odds that have been precipitated, we all have to now look within and see who we are so that we can move in a better light. That is the way I am angling it. And they are the communicators who are very much versed on what is going on to be able to counter whatever is going. But for me, I believe strongly that
because of these diaspora issues, I can say Ghana, Ghana as a Ghana exception, approach it is that the way you see it?
Well, not necessarily, because you see, the fact is that when you come to Ghana, you come and see it yourself. You see, I was just talking with some people who are even outside. They can be describing the seriousness of how they feel from outside. You see, but those are things that at times, you can really know that is happening, because the information comes from here. The situation is right here. You see, we can be pretending that nothing is happening, but no, there's a gaping hole which is there. That is why we always enter into the firefighting and kicking back. That is why it's almost like it's a never-ending story, because clearly, as it was once said, the fundamentals have been clearly tampered with, and we see that we are not really going to go unless we all stop, look, and listen.
Okay. But Obi my message say in terms of infrastructure development, one kasa as an architect, both Africa, even Ghana and the world. Why you maybe or why be Ghana for Ukraine?
For infrastructure, we all have to know that as an architect, you would have been doing your professional work around the world, and it's very difficult for people to know everything that one does.
Because they tell me Busano, message National Cathedral. So what monitor credit?
Anyway, yes. You see, as an architect, maybe I can talk about things here in Ghana, then we can refer to some of the things out here. But I think one of the main iconic issues that I've participated in robustly in Ghana was our International Conference Center.
International Conference Center.
Yes, the one that we used to call the Pink Lady. The one that we used to call the Pink Lady, opposite the conference, the Parliament House.
Yes. National Cathedral.
Yes, it's close to that area. Yes. So that was one of the first things that I got involved with, at least nationally here in terms of architecture. But since then, you see that for us to also really have a real take-off, a real impact, I realized that it was important that our situation again stems from our educational institutions. You see, because at the end of the day, what is happening is that if there's no connect between the education and infrastructure, because that's where everything is, we are still going to continue talking as we are today. So that is why we would have something like this cathedral issue also coming up. You see, and you see, it all boils down to the famous word planning.
Yeah, I'm planning.
Planning, no, the planning. You see, a plan, everything, success begins with a good plan. A good plan in turn starts off with understanding. You see, so now, when you have not been able to reveal a plan, it is very difficult for everybody to buy in and understand how they're going to participate. So when that has not been revealed and people come up with their ideas, there will be all the time this firefighting and arguments. But you see, the essential thing about what we are doing in our nation is that we also have to look at our own and understand how we can really do our things homegrown.
Now your time also say we to say National Cathedral, you put you up such building.
Sorry?
Say National Cathedral. Was it the right time for say you put up maybe such a building?
Every government will have its own priorities. You see, that is when we maybe have lost the understanding of what a national agenda is and what parochial agendas are. It's important for us to understand that we are a multifaceted country. We have different persuasions of religions. And when you enter into those areas as a national cathedral, you should start to understand the more global issues as the geopolitics. Because as soon as you do that, you are also trying to have a different stance from how the Muslims who are also there, who also have their mosque and their main area, which they will call their national meeting spot. And maybe for the lack of us having something general with all the churches that we have littered around. So it is clear that the religion and churches have also played, in most occasions, a very negative approach to how we can develop. Because again, you see, we have been preaching other people's disciplines. But the fact is that if you don't prioritize right, we'll end up with these things. That's what has happened.
Priority in the right.
Well, of course, if you have to also be listening to the people. You see, one important thing about us is that we all want to do something, but there's also that angle for us to really take the proper temperature from the people. You see, and these people are not necessarily NDC or MPP. You see, a voice is voice.
We are there, MPP, there will be a time for it. Let's say 2024.
Yes.
For now, we are there. Give me MPP and NDC because you have elections. And one tenacity. We call elections.
Of course.
So we are there. At long last, everybody will see MPP and NDC. Because we have a kind of achievement. Can you compare the achievement of NPP to NDC to MPP in terms of infrastructure? Let's say a can was because we have a candidate.
Of course, and it's obvious that when, especially during the time of Mahama, there was a serious infrastructure drive. You see, again, I'll reiterate the issue of social infrastructure. You see, the idea and the drive to really bring that angle to the forefront was really heftily done, beyond a doubt. And there were some other key infrastructure, such as hospitals, that were also moved around. You see, when you have the roads and all other issues of of course, and that is why we have to be very careful how, that's exactly what I'm trying to speak about, that a road, for example, those are the linear infrastructure. When we start to put some coloration on it, we get problems, because you see, those things are already funded by others. They are always a funding which has come from another source, and they are just completing that angle. So we all have to see, we all can say when it comes to funding, then we all rush to China, for example. But meanwhile, in the beginning, there was the basic split of when it was for China, then it is more on the socialist angle. And then when it was...
Now you are vice president, Baumia, Edin and Nido, so I didn't to you. Or say, Rose, you abide this cacopa. Did the abbe say, be a bit privatize it, to be at the private sector will take over rules, no more ya quino, maybe a more taxi or head your musica. Meaning the order to globally, is it accepted?
No, you see, everything again, I'm just boiling down. You have to have your plan. If your plan is not, you see, saying it as you are saying,
the private sector will take over.
We can say it, you see, because you see, that's one of the key things. We always say that the private sector is the engine of growth. Yes, and we have realized what type of engine it took up through. So, you see, it is clear that nowadays, just as we are a National Democratic Party, okay, so you see that word, and we are a Social Democratic Party. See the word social, that is a very key component, and that is really a divide between the two parties. But if you watch carefully now, everybody is doing social projects. Everybody now is social.
Both NPP.
Social, yes.
No, but or a capital.
That's what I'm trying to hint to you, and that very candidly, that you see, one is social, one is capitalist. But you see, the idea is that in the end, we all need private money to come in. But and the second thing that we also have to know, what is really going to take the difference this time around is going to be using our imagination, our creativity, and different angles. Otherwise, we cannot go and do the same thing we did because we'll get the same result.
Yeah.
I think enough examples of why we are where we are today have been shown clearly. And that is why it is a very good opportunity for things to take a different turn.
Okay, but your infrastructure deficit, aban bi aba ojitum will be why so you see a housing project or why is it still infrastructure deficit and so that ye ba no. So Professor Kwame Henekwado, a development architect or NDC ni mapa or kida a real camo kakra or pass by nti sa deficit ne da ho no aban ne bakoba obi anim sa deficit ne e den see betimi a break you.
You see, now it's not only for us to break the 8, but you see, we have to look at things practically, really on the ground. Because you see, what has happened is that we have been sleeping at certain moments. So the time has passed for us to now try to even reconcile. You see, we have gone so beyond. You see, there are housing architects. The housing deficit is just enormous. About just over a decade ago, when I remember we were trying to do those calculations, you could see that in each region you have hundreds of thousands of housing deficits. Yes, and so you can see now that
so now we have 16
it has really shot over that. So you can see that when you don't have a plan, it's like when you divide a country. Yes, you divide a country. The first things you have is a plan for really how the roads are going to go, where the electricity is going to pass, where the water pipeline.
So is it
so if those things are not there,
any plan, and as a party say, and they need a plan to face it.
You see, that is why we had something like they call it the National Development Planning Commission. But it was supposedly supposed to be broadly helping, but unfortunately, that angle too has also been politicized. So you find out that it becomes very difficult for us to merge. But that's why I'm just trying to simply say it gives us this beautiful opportunity to set certain records clean and straight. And unfortunately, the time has we've really overshot.
Because now,
you would have to have a whole new approach to get a new result. That's all. It has gone very bad. But it's not impossible, of course. Everything is possible until it is done.
Possible.
Everything is possible until it's done. But it's not as is possible as it's been just said, without any beef to
but it. Almost a manifesto be a parties no be a manifesto. But a buy intimate.
Yes, because you see, manifestos also are a very key component in rallying people. Unfortunately, manifestos, when they come out, they are supposed to also touch base with the people on the ground so that they can understand. So when you don't have that interaction from the beginning, this is when you can have but you see, let's understand, infrastructure is long-term. It's long-term. So we can't expect all those things to be done in these short time periods. That is why it is important for us to stay on track. But the only time it can be shown clearly is when there's a clear-cut plan where everybody can tap in, so that as we are moving on, we all know this was going to happen. But as long as that does not exist, we will still have issues like the cathedral and things like that popping up.
But anyone who said party about 8 years, maybe as a glimmer, ODSC, no way back of maybe 16 years ago. What?
Because that is why the issue of a plan. You see, a plan.
That's it. No planning. No my. To say you can't watch me. It was planned. Yes,
yes. I'm talking about comprehensive planning. Let's understand the difference between that. You see, a comprehensive plan means that you've taken many other things into consideration. It's just not your project only.
Okay.
You see, and that is where we have to have that comprehensive plan.
Okay.
And that comprehensive plan is going to be revealed by the NDC.
By the NDC.
Of course. Of course.
But
of course.
No,
but that's what I'm trying to hint to you, that now what is going to happen is that when we all have a common ground from which we're supposed to be moving from, somebody has to bring forward something. Otherwise, that is why we have always others bringing their plans to us.
Okay.
And bringing their money. And this is why we have to look seriously about that issue. Because if you don't have a plan, somebody else will plan for you.
And you know, people are planning for us.
Because when you plan something, you have to pay for it. And we know that when you're paying for it, it's somebody else's money.
That's right. That's it. Sisi I can say, Enchemino baby. Gena Nkrofon consider the NDC maybe in 2024, this election coming.
What are they considering?
Especially, yes.
What are they expecting?
Yes.
You see, there are two clear areas. There's the clear issue of inverted commerce, unfinished business. Unfinished business. I'm referring to that in terms of, you see, infrastructure. Lots of things were stopped.
No, sir,
but that is why we have to try to merge and get that thing moving. That idea of winner takes all, we have to realize that we have to look at that. And that comes with consensus. All of those things, you need a platform and you need an atmosphere. I believe strongly these things can happen to be able to set us on course. If we don't do that, we'll firefight until there's no Ghana. Now, another thing we should all understand, we cannot do all these things without funding. So now, if you have lost trust with the rest of the world, inverted commerce, the ones who are going to give you money, inverted commerce, and you've lost that trust, it has affected all of us. So trust is going to play a very key role. You have to have the trust to be able to do what? Usher in the appropriate funds so that everybody can see where they're going clearly and move on. But if you don't have a trust from where you're going to get the money, yes, you still run into the same problems. That is why countries are being taken over.
Yeah.
Their infrastructures are being seized. You see, because we too have not openly experienced those things because they are already happening.
Yeah, but we are not ideas when I am more the mammo party when they are in power. Do you give such ideas to your party when they are in power?
Yes, yes, but you see, it is true that when you are with a party, everybody has got their role to play. But there are certain circumstances that are set up that things are
going to say party no more they are draining free health free and yes. So more opposition as a money different, more power so money different.
Yes. You see, I'll tell you something. Everything that has been going on is a learning experience. You see, we have to at times go down into the gutter to really know how to rise again.
Okay.
And that is one situation which we have to continue. It's a whole learning process. But the most important thing, as I'm just trying to hammer on, is that if you do not have a plan that we can see, a plan has to be seen and shown and pointed to. So if that does not exist, we can.
Let's say when you leader ideas
it is very true.
Unless the person becomes a leader.
I agree with you 100% because you see, you can have dreams, ideas, and so forth. You see, there are three key things. You can dream, you can have an idea, you can have a vision.
Okay.
Then after that has to be translated into designs. Then afterwards, the designs turn into development.
When I talk about me, I agree say a driver's meeting at a point.
Yes, but I'm just trying to finish the cycle. Okay. So after that, you go into the issue of governance. So now all the things that you designed with your dreams, you have to put it into a governing system. That's where you're going to. And then finally, it has to be put into leadership in terms of the authority. And so at the end of the day, if you don't have that authority to do it, your dreams would always hang on the shelf.
Okay.
So especially when they are big, lofty dreams dealing with the fortunes or the destiny of a nation, and in this case, our beautiful country, Ghana. So it is very important for us to look seriously about how this connect comes through.
Yes. No me no boy ne prof baby nkitaudie kakremu. obeta besrai na nsen say akonya beba betinya ba makoma, especially when it comes to sa professional we na infrastructure ne the keka ho na beta hia e wa hakakra. But say on say way back say Nana Yi Dr. Bawumia so in terms of economics is very good near the presidential candidate we are now ohia a professional attached to John Dramani Mahama the Prof na Kobi by this time ebia akonye ba some professors and these professors na doso.
I'll say one thing.
Yes.
I don't cut you short, but I can see where you're going, and I'll just go straight to also help this whole conversation scenario. Because you see, the idea is that we have been going through this issue of economic management team, which is normally handed over to the vice president. You see, normally, listen to it. It's called economic management team. You see, and this is where the bane of our situation has always been in this nation. You see, you have the NDPC, the National Development Planning Commission. Then you have the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning. This is where the issue always begins. This is where the friction for us to develop and move all this infrastructure begins. So what happens is that NDPC, National Development Planning Commission, which are supposed to be responsible for all the plans of our nation, can have them, but at the end of the day, if finance does not release monies to them, what happens? All the plans don't happen.
Okay.
This is what has been going on. This is how everything has happened. So one of the key things which I personally have been also advocating for, which hopefully we should see it in a better light, is that it's not the issue of always hampering on this economics. We have seen where economic wizards have taken us.
Yes.
But now we have to take it to development management team.
Development management team, not economic management team.
You see, because you want to develop, you see, and to develop, you obviously need.
But you have to manage the economy before I'll beat me development.
But that's why but you see, you can't be managing something when you don't have any plan for a development. You see, the development has got the issue of plan in it. Okay, that is how you collate it. So, and all those things, to have a plan, it will have to be feasible economically. It will have to be feasible, viable economically. So that is why it is crucial to have the issue of the development management. Because as we stand now as a nation, the coffers are dry. We don't have. Yes. So if you don't have a plan, and you don't have that trust, you're going to run into difficulties. So it is important for all of us to know that the only way we can start to move solidly is to secure a plan and identify with it and try to see how that can move on. You see, one thing is having a plan and keeping it to yourself. You see, and I'm going to say this because you see, this plan I've always literally been talking about has actually always existed. I've actually been sharing this plan with all the parties, always. But you see, if the creator of the idea is not in the position to do what? To actually implement it, because he brought the idea to me. That is where we have a challenge. So that is where there's another
so this time around Ghana phone try the development planners need be some ready. So I mean dance the economists, lawyer economists planners need be some ranking ready. That
is also another key angle, and let's add to mix them all up, to join them all up, or to complement all of them. Creativity and imagination.
That's right. The next time I be here now, say now say what is STEM? Say that she say schools no the STEM. Oh, and bakuya so monko vocational why and schools no on the way senior high schools no on the way education ministry na see achichem sa akwara ne pia ne nurse ono a okwakoye na adwuma ye nya at level senior technical schools no kwa universities into free wa na okọ you be prepared na you touch that grounds no and every time I
think it's very good because I'm very interested in education.
That's right.
I'll be coming out with a major book called The Visions of Africa, Decoded Development. In fact, I've already come out with a book called Visions of Ghana, Decoded Development in 2014, which talks about all of these things we are doing. But it's about time now we as Ghanaians, we start to look deeper and reflect, because our solutions have already existed. But we have to now know where we are going, and some of us are ready to also support our party and support our incoming president, the government, with all the machineries that we can use.
That's it. Next idea so nyina na NDC ma power ni nyina odi akwa kugude. Man ra Ghana fo nya so mfa so no.
Well, That is the whole idea of coming up with something concrete.
That's it. Prophet, that's it. You do be see a name. Ayana wabe why you both numa. Especially last time no one e bedi hu nkomaji. Menim de ye beto ankomodi no so a Israel no bibi ho na proso ko ye gya no kwan no akọ ebia na nkita ndi be bi ho na e wo wa bia be. That's it.
We friend this in Abaha no catch myself friend Abaha.
Na de nyen this in netu. Ana
infrastructure hu komo no bo.
That's right.
So say nka pay this MPP ni onu so infrastructure.
Oh there be
na me amada ko no be.
There be on the NDA say on a professional base.
But we introduce no council NDC kid.
Oh yes, and they also want to Odyssey cry ni.
No me so council on to.
Okay, I can't hear. But 24-hour economy here to mo I say ya.
What no me no. The ayaba ni say abai ebetwa electricity boa ewo fam kura e de ama enyuma yefo a mo beba adwuma anajo no ma be ya adwuma enti mo amoye fundraise mo amoye welders mo amokura e ka se ne amane ma mo hia electricity pa no mo penufo na mo adwuma emfaso aba mo a mo be sign na mo ba adwuma anajo Wusu electricity na ne boa ede akofom wo mo ya iron rods ene ya mo Wusu nyama wode kese no mo be ye mo adwuma anajo a wo be hu se anyama wode boa be kofom pa aboa mo ama mo nya mfaso na maburu no so wo mo nya adwuma aye enti abana anteni a church 24-hour economy num na muji tumwa eno aye game changer.
That's right. Baby, I agree there. You better also at free. I beg your phone. Haruna Maliba and this cinema communications team no at the national level can be Samson and Mr. Ellen Daeko and Suswaha. Amaliba Aquaba
NDC promise and fulfillment.
I don't want to be a promise.
Amaliba.
A promise.
If I come some later.
Am I what I promise and feel?
I promise and feel.
We know my power and Bruno was as a promise.
The poorest of all the poor boys in town.
And I'll call a promise.
NDC.
What's I the red handkerchief?
The poorest of all the poor boys in town. NDC name 2 position and maybe me won fe. I won't go to Dwene. It was this year. Mijinaso. Me de koshebo. E bonus ma yo bi an koshebo. NPP National Women Organizer hopeful.
And I'll question them.
No, we koshebo.
Abusia for wa shame bo wan we redeem the bono.
Na we koshebo.
No be any ho.
But imagine the public.
Boss and so ya ka dan so no. Asem we ne ka be din mom de. Yate. Na awalba.
Yes sir.
Yes shase na ye hwe. Dabi anas because I say professor the sister so ni bibia ka ho. On the infrastructure then can say you be on so born ado aso sade hammer bo so answer. But I say Dr. Baumia ba say mo game changer na ya to form. Ye be fa ne ma ne mienu. Ye be di kan fa 24-hour economy no. Na fe yaba Dr. Baumia say mo de betu dwa no.
Hot 93. So who are we looking at first?
Yanko Dr. Baumia say mo de buy.
Well,
Hot 93.9.
sorry, there was a mincha ya tifo. I say share ya chekakra. The miso food also we na one tea and kawa hana ya sono be fufu. Wusu ohwe Ghana bibi yedu ya nse toda agro ewo ye nisu se timamufo wohu na mpempenso ya babedru enya gudie biom enya nibre sanse mpeninsi yedu amanfo so a ne aka ya anom so hwe the year 2016 Tamona NDC hand over na omanpeni dada John Dramani Mahama radio domobesa babium edane na kufuna edisho omanpeni akufu adonsem na wo ya da jefra ntuma kesi a mihu bi da bigina Blaster Square na wiase nyinaa ehwe no na Ghana for the high hopes twɛn sɛ ne hwɛyɛ akyi no kɛde ɔhome bɛba kɛde abotoyɛ mu bɛba kɛde nkɔso bɛba kɛde mpuntu bɛba kɛde yedie bɛba ama mabunu ɛyɛ adwuma yɛ awarefoɔ atimi ahwɛ mo yerenom no mu kununom na afei so awofoɔ so atimi ahwɛ mma na sɛbio ɔman no mu mpempenso bia wo so ɔyɛ nsɛntwerɛni woyɛ kuani woyɛ dwadini wokɔ school kasa nneɔma no nyinaa bɛtumi awie pɛyɛ na nneɔma akɔ wano na Ghana ni bia bebibia wo nam no ka wobɛtumi asere na wayi wo sɛ duasɛmi no gu wiem na wɔda Yankopɔn asɛ wɔ akoma mu no ankɔba ne saa disa meka se do amanfo so ane aka ya no mu a amanfo so no ɛyɛ bebia yaba begina sisi a na yɛbu yɛ kɔn kɔhwɛ yɛ kyi ne yɛ kai 2016 aba NDC bɛhwɛ akonnwa so gye Wusu menka se NDC yɛ magana yɛ heaven in fact yɛ behia yanka so yɛ challenges in office but as a matter of fact Ghana yɛ ɔman a afine fifi sen ɛwɔ mpuntuom no ɔman a fifi sen wɔ mpuntuom mu no tɔda enema pii agye asaba mu enema timomufoɔ hia ɛdɔso even Accra Akrampo ɛyɛ the capital of Ghana. There are a lot of communities that are here issue. You get it? There are a lot of communities that are here quite. The other communities who saw Accra, omo pankania. Says light I want omo potem hono. Do do na so.
Omo hwe sa de ni nyina na gina so to aba mo.
Exactly so. It's very legitimate. Na omo so koduburu mpo motia pamomo a. Na omo so de abre de omo nkadai. Is a what in cry. Na Wusu so kwan ya. Now your team of classes were on his own career. Have you seen the problem that you have as a country? Exactly so. But we are just painting the generality. Remember the general picture about the problems of the country. And to your team crying, not quite a yellow. One knows no be what you call east, so not quite so more to about. They are voting to elect a leader with expectations. Say, oh, ba me kwano, so kwano by your mommy. Bajo so ehu sanso na school fu a omoto abayi aban no ehwehwe say sa aban ba ene wo bekọ fom na o mawofo atimi provide the means ama omo na o machine awie pay na ye so ye wo university betima atwa ye fees and all of that. These are some of the expectations the MPP gave to the people of Ghana. And who led that? Papa mate. No le o yes adwuma no
na Akufo-Addo ne leadi ana say
e dey be papa mate
3.9
omampanyin nye omampanyin ne leadi
Alhaji Muhammadu
Bawumia na na pese Ghana for to aba
exactly so good eno ko for Accra mo Bawumia be di akire ayi bro so omampanyin Akufo-Addo organize the town hall meeting
ba we campaign all right
no for the campaign so we are born to every party candidate campaigns right. Me no can say me tie me nya candidate be dey me yen so I am campaigning.
Yeah.
On whose behalf? Muhammad's behalf.
Nana Akufo-Addo ye campaign the vision and so
exactly so.
And how be run again.
So wonnim omampani Akufo-Addo vision na. Wonnim ese Malam Bawumia.
Ese o de okatra Malam na Malam.
Exactly. Dey me pache you know. Anyway,
we are having say Ebia Malam ni different but we are Alhaji
yes. So you go to understand. One no and Mampino Akufo-Addo friend tra them. Say Kramo unim. Me free Chedi. Me boy school Accra, me be economist. Am ko yi amame na me dwane ko ye law. Ba wo de yemi adom. What you share economy sa do echire abayo PhD pull him down waje obodi ye kan ho abara ye kwakoto no samiya din kunimu a wo na obebe ye mabedi echire and wo na obeye economic management team ni chairperson into organize town hall meetings na fa ni so ade hunu no fatudwa na kanen to Ghana for so no nto abamaye enti eye lectures a omampani then MPP ku no baro dani na Kufuado Ewisa share Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia no so ti da sopam a whole lecture to be job bonten e ka che Ghana for okay ebini say within 18 months there will not be a single community or Ghana have a major toilet or water problem 2 or 4 no ka che da no ebini say the free fall of the Ghanaian cedi after that time na 2 cedis and later on before this if them na 3.72
when you know almost same na upset COVID-19 na be waves na buy na be fast and we na ko so to send your person
that is never true for producer one 3.9 obe kan so Mpini Kufuado far back in 2019 2019 that was 2 years 2017 18 February 2019 and now Kojina is it Ponkatamanso or some part of Greater Accra no I can't say the depreciations of the city no about on crowd you remember that the depreciation of the city no I am upset by then not 3.75 no be found 2017 now trouble end this no mahama by no next no move a free sal rate no akwa ko do 6 cities no 5 cities no man pinisu oja that was 2019 na COVID unity
Hot 93.9
you recorded a first COVID case on the 9th March 2020 true or false 3 days after Ghana's independent celebration of Kumasi meboa na recorded a first COVID case Ghana January no man penny atiba so abadwafo is it I want to say 45 member committee were there 45 and Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia o man penny be the chairman of the economic management team na won kasa abadwaku no that omo investigate how as you know EDPCAT na COVID unity na COVID unity and what IMF sorry World Bank rather me could join this publication or I can get it for you. Almost say Ghana economy challenges are it started before the COVID.
But the rate and
US. Okay, so we did difficult times in Ghana. All these testimonies came not COVID in unity. So this will be the COVID. And the yes be a cancer COVID number or mind sick as somebody to Sumwa. It's never true because
but mind you cannot catch yourself or a driver's mate. So driver na twini country so a mate there okay driver no so na be catch us at the
COVID unity no na nyoma yeden em koye dada.
So you go to driver
na nyoma koye dada. But don't forget Alan Chemate honorable Kojo Alan Chemate the leader of the butterfly movement. One so kind fantastic economic management team no. He was a member.
Yes.
Chaired by Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia. And it's Obinim Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia the vice president. Who need no ensene. Honorable like Kojo Chemate. Has one no what no kunya ba koso. Chaired by him in the meetings for the past 7 years. Or the past 6 years until so ono twene ho afri sa ekuru mu se no ono bejira simpie so ka se o mampenia be de chinse ma okay na ma mfim so wa bre de obeya no waye no na abedie chire eno mampeni o mu ina take it ni ya ba ko a whom am I to dispute say the okan intisa but Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia the vice president, he is out of breath.
But I know what you want make a crancer.
He is out of breath. No moment. Because so we share and some more general simple so e kan ni na my no ka crave na music form was so about ministers no bet so at about 50 right good that means it mean the 50 ministers e Ghana money
yeah
na say the 15 ministers ebu money here e ban say on the boss on the first time omo yi 126 ministers
say no case we me tebi o case boss ko any 30 no boss ko yi
93.9.
One of the greatest thing you can do as a principled person, and I say if you belong to a group, now you're second in command of that group. Now the vision etuja. Now group in India, what do? You pull out. Of course, Kwame Nkrumah did that.
What pulling out?
Yes, Kwame Nkrumah did that
because of party leadership.
Kwame Nkrumah did that.
Hot 93.
Kwame Nkrumah did that. UGCC, he left them and formed the CPP because he said the vision and the vision of UGCC was not at par. Therefore, he left them because now na ejigua na yesani ngwa sene majibi. Enu nkumampeni abede chiraji Muhammadu Biom one children from Wakna Hama Jegwino, and now one Ghanaian film. No, then film so ye.
You bet me that
of course, because the elections and you 1 month too, and then you 1 week, and you 4 years. What in the office the first 4 years? About to service the year 2020. He was all over the place campaigning for the boss. No mess, no more created that.
Keze Biom resigning as vice president.
At what point he should have resigned? The best thing he could do was to have resigned. To have resigned. You don't sit in to supervise some mess way. Now you be catch and say, and you're COVID, maybe you don't meet. You need her. And the MPP MPs or one board here our parliament. Did you let it buy? Yeah, and
3.9.
Omampenia be the chase or no Yanko money be Mampenia. Obey your few. After they approved the levy, they went to the constituency no back. No better train of parliament. Ken must go. Now, one of the reasons I'm kind of say xenophobia is the problem of the Ghanaian economy. He's causing the mess. And to uncle,
no, GD.
Well, no,
so GD, they are not question about me as a economy.
I don't see the MPP allying. Omukase coven the Magana because and your bad management, I was saying, and your bad governance, waste, enemies, management, and incompetence. Alhaji Muhammadu Biom,
finally, the woman can say, John Mahama Babi binti Ghana for who do bit my bia. Biom nti yema Biom so made, and I want that. But I know 2 minutes.
Sometimes I may that analysis now. I take it with a pinch of salt. See, Baby Muhammad or my Nigerian. Omampeni Nana Kufuor MPP abai MPP amoyuku be J amamunu. And our modi a just something pension na dia be just abai akeye.
93.9.
Okay. Of course. By then, now inflation is 15%, 15.4%. Debt to GDP is 56%. Ghana ya kai win 122 billion. Okay, 122 billion Ghana cedis. Ebio your physical deficit. Okay?
Yeah.
The expenditure above revenue. Now you're 6.2%. I jama omu. And when you look at the massive infrastructure we left for them.
Hot 93.
Terminal 3 omo dia way. Kejita market omo dia way. UGMC omo dia way. Maritime Hospital and others omo dia way fa.
93.9.
Afari ay jama omo mu we.
But that time the Ghana for no say nyenti na bi.
Very well. It is Ghana for who say you. Sometimes adokodok unse amoyosem. You see owo sabuku.
Edia.
How to win elections.
Mate me ba no so me da say. Hot 93.9 FM so memo aba so why. Haruna Maliba ekasa nbendi si amanyoku no ha. Na Ellen Amadeko NPP ni mapa no so ha bi. Is that how be?
Emia.
Yasin ka de ndie mugina ho aponchi breaking ke boy.
Mamema etiefo nyina adwo wo sa for ana me mo ha na me nchia mo so na me sai mo afishia pa afi me mai na mabet na he na mama ye nyina ye papa Professor Christopher Kunfiame yako asem kese etu na afi mfiti ase ne baba asem papa yako ni mitimi aka no emre no so ye nyina ye be fa ye back ye be ko na fa ya batechima ni ahwe ni ye be Maka ni say you know.
So next month.
Next month.
Yeah.
Maka ni say you know. Na mebusa Ghana for 80 minute. Say nyame aya adom 2024 yenye ewrem ye February na ye February 13th. Akaya mbosume enkron ana bosumi du depending on easy for ne mbeba say ye beto aba November say ye beto no December. Inti ye be emfa na kra say November na ye beto no kra po aka 9 months. Yeah, koto aba. Infie so ni ye we mfie wotwe ni Ghana for di adwuma ne ma ye wura na nado danko akufuado. Se omra mi di Ghana for so mpese ye comparison. Ka tukitwa bi. Amane ba ka se dan ka ye ba bia ye de ye beto no nka ye nya ne sa. Ye bisa Ghana for say enne hwani wiemu aye 3.9 na hwe o hyewa we wiemu na fa ne se mfie so ni ugusu da dum so mu a to the 7 years dum so no me kana na do buy 7 years ni me de aka mfie 9 de na NDC for ni fiase no 7 plus 4 patcho ya 11 years of dum so sa na amale ba se nka Ghana for ye tena ho dum so na Ghana for ka se enye nti ye de 1 million votes e pam John Mahama no enne yentena dum so mu enya ne fault enne wanya kani a charge ni phone wanya kani a print documents wanya kani a atonatare ene wa betena ha be ka kire Ghana for say dum so na mutimu no e ya asempa na nya asem ne yenka ena Ghana ha na ne yen politics na mu a udu hu a no wasen asan wachi a enko obi a wabedi bidade ama ya kan wasi abonte san kokofa ba agese me san yaba. Some questions in the Ghana Fubusa NDC for. But some Sadia is about me and so a DB. Baumia didn't, or the president. Listen, your man, President, Vice President Baumia, or the president of the Nibusau. Make a use of near the NDC for enemy that I know. Well, Oyene at Ghana. Ya kodaye ya shori anopani ya siye president ewu. Hot 93. You mate no. We know your mate. President Atamils now would your Mahama now your mate. Now we need co-driver now your mate. Nyankopon friend no. Ena nimre na aka no sa 6 months no. Wo ba be ye co-driver because wo be di ne de no 6 months no. Sa 6 months no Nyankopon de ma wo sefa ye training. Wo be ye co-mate no ka kire ye nyina ye say President Mills nyame afre no o ma wo chance nyame nso frɛ no nso wanya opportunity. Enti Ghana for 6 months na waye no. Na ye nto awo so. Ina sympathy vote. Ina na ye hwɛ President Mills nso so nsɛm esie na ɛse fine. Omo to aba no eto ma me amama ntu bi ama wo. Ina oba betena ye so mfie 9 eno no be ye driver. Oba ye no between President Mills Oba be take over any one mreso near President Mills ye nyinara wo say no wo pese ye kwa economic indicators
3.9
inflation say near President Mills to no wo say no e friend say ba ko ne dey say GDP wo say no dum so one mreso wo be take over no co-driver
93.9
na Ghana force ye training na wa nko ni ye ye ma opportunity this went me and yenti from 1 million votes near the true. Ukokot na fie na we say Ghana for MPP 4 ba. MPP 4 ba ekwa with all the issues I buy including COVID na one person uji tum no. Uti krom ha COVID nye MPP 4 boa COVID anya ye hwe. Wo fa plan ko gina brochire na ugina mu na wo ka akire abro Ghana ye ho akire ye COVID ba ye nya ti wo de onam no anyanyi I don't blame you onam na no 22 wo ka asem ba ko ha o kira nopa wo be ko no wasesa na no
samu
ai sa note ti Ghana MPP 4 na anya ade na COVID ba asif se na nado danko akufado na sori ye no kokofa COVID ba kurum ha okoko gina brochire a COVID ama ya bro, COVID ama Africa bro, COVID ama Ghana bro, sa nipa we. We signed by 2020 over 500,000 votes Ghana for say yes na. Na wako NDC kakra case we. Over 4 million card bearing NDC members. Why NDC for na motene ya mo ya ase onu nko an na ja modwu nse sa amri owonya nso otimi di mu anim na mo ase akofa waba. wo di bi da went nyanye ni ye wo se Ghana fo nsanhwe wanim ni ye ma wo chance na bra nanso Dr. Biom ye onu gusu ye mates fen ya ne boss di ka na si wo ka no wan fa mpem wo ye di ka ne ma wo akopem ka no wo se ka no wo pra wanim junction valet wo wanim nyina wo di abegina ho professor bi ka okuma se last journey wo ka no wa chire last journey wo se Ghana fo ye nsan me for last journey if so ba wo 4 years pe ye me fa Dr. Biom ye na onu nyame ye na de mo 4 years and 4 years then no de ma ye mfa no ma ye ni nya adwuma wo last journey wo de ye me fa wo kura po wo nya kukuduro se wo ba wo tina fie wo twenie wani abere na wonim se Ghana ekonye 4 years bi ye da wanim wunya ya wo bebe nka be ka asem kire yempo na yentie ne policy number 1 last year oyi 2 ho a Greek policy 3.9 nkuko buo nketenkete ni amamu nkokọ nketewa no wa ma osika to feed no mo atu nkosua kosua no pa dibi wo pa aton bi nkokọ no tu wi a no aton nkokọ no wo to nkokọ no wi a na abuo no so aton ni agri policy ode ba mu no
ye be Ghana fo be nya nkokọ area na
so ennemremu ba bia wi ase adun so pese wo ye poultry farming kura ye nkokọ buo nketenkete ene even poultry farming ye kwa digital
Hot 93.9
ene poultry farming we start here 50-day old chicks ye di omu nam system ni ma kopim ba bia ya yom ho adwuma wi a ye freeze yom ye di omu ko supermarket ni dwuma koton sa system no ne ye pe efie bie ne kakraka ni afa nipa wo bi sa asem ne bebo ka chemi me say young people emrante ne maba wa no mama ye nkukobuo wa ma ye mprekobuo ni anya nkuko nketenkete ya anya mpreko nketenkete enu ne John Mahama Greek policy odi ba ana odi fufuro bia ba
there's a 24-hour economy ho ye beba ye be kan wase what say 24-hour economy no we be ya duma 24 hours no but say think at theater ana me boy want ya say what say artisans no light no ne bo anado e be ne bo from
light now
so ye adwuma na
no time anado light na yenya bi no afi dia anado ne bo light na wia ni anado the difference be no
anado de ne bo na bi anu ye de esi
Ghana ni a wote ho ye ni akoye ni abere ye ho digitalization njira kwa ye ho asem ka na nipa wono akotena fie wotwe aka kire wo so no nko na nim nyanso betini aye nti wo ba na be ka kire wo se wo ti wai kwa ye aduma nadwo na until light so ma wo sa asem wi ni agri policy ni nkukobu nketenkete no sports policy me ban sports. And Ghana from football to what? I see a holistic approach. Near when you be here, on look at yourself the local players. About Black Stars. And in sports policy. It's the other games name. Boxing, swimming, the other football team.
Difference Sani penimne wa so wa ba mu sisi na wa introduce 11 na Ghana for aka emwa demonstration ya dey na wa ye na wa ye let no be sound ba
difference onu di president time I know the president no GFA eswa sika $3 million okay ya egu aeroplane mu ko Brazil
Hot 93.9
Minister Koto Coconut Kube $200 for Brazil oba ye ti committee okotina ho sunye oba ye bibi na oyi ni ko Jubilee House as Minister of State sai bi pa no wakofi fie wotwe onko dwen asem ho mre o ka cho se GFA no about the local players be edma MPP for ne yetina se yesi e-levy asem aba COVID aba ye economy na asem ato ye hu ne ye nye ye ho eti ye de levy yi ba tax way ba ne ye ho ahehan hwani amoyeye mu NDC for hwani amoyeye ni ne kokokofa ba ya di kosiye enne nyame ya adoma ye free COVID no kaya na nado dan kwa kufa do be ka kire me no nyina sese say ye free COVID situation ye call post COVID situation we are trying to recover che say ye ho kire na kire ye try see ye be free mu ya table so so kaya ubusa me sese ye free COVID mu dia sa COVID sika de ye gya ye den so kai and I me catch us still
93.9
9 months now mutina fie a teacher for anko kira de a ban to yomuka mutina fie COVID time etua eji nsuo free G light free aban workers civil servants public servants tire fie e ma yetu yomuka obi ani ho betimi be catch ye krom ha se ye ntua ne ka bi sika ye chemu ana obi anya the full pay se sika no ese e pa kwan ye befa so ne bi ahyem enti COVID levy ne de ye beji akopim mra ye dwen se And he has here, can we say MPP yen? Maybe you were a history of taking away taxes. Yeah, 2017, 17 taxes, and that's what you need to include Kaya tax and the condom tax.
We 17 out of 50 bars. Still, and taxes.
Maybe the tax the running. Yes. Yeah, the tax in the running your country. And so you swear to a point. How do you say who here? We free. Dr. Baumia, and I can say mini president, you won't send me a partner the buyer. But some tax and ya say a free COVID. It's a mini PM buying bar, may year free, and I want to ask you.
Hot 90.
And then I want to ask you. Maybe to be tax. I buy way to be 17 tax. Condom tax, I would the buyer. Kaya tax, and he tax, yet now you levy the end to me. Yeah, we are known to take tax off and bring tax. When I'm winning economic management, and can hear Professor Mills here, to me to us. More the situation and Muja Ghana. Nasa John Mahama way in the NDC for a catcher and someone could fear. Oh, what fear watching. Yeah, now almost 9 months until we found the policy by. Oh, by out 24-hour economy. And then I'm a little church and Mama Matias here because me mentias here. Or quite a 3-hour walk. 24-hour walk, also 24-hour economy, 3-hour walk, you know, Kumasi and Wellhuso. Now, me just a Kumasu for 24 hours. Who's a man who 3 hours? No, we are quite in a podium. So, on check 24-hour economy, Amaleba, very check you go so chemo. It's a bit dear, NDC for dear. This coming elections are year queen. Near Bananse, Dr. Baumia Kasai, no Kasembi, Namene Yadrin. Ye could choose between the past and the future. It will choose NDC for John Mahama. Now see young Kwanko Kitimu. Young Kwayachi. Young Kwanko for Dumso. Young Kwanko for Nipana or New Clueless, only me and near Kwakofa. And now so Baku near digitalization. And then Ghana card down my account was my Ghana card. Mobile President before the started Ghana card. 8 solid years are mobile bet now. Abemu Ghana card as a baby see so China upon a church money and ya National Health Insurance mobile no maguno BBPD buy a bueni pebia muguno what me here radian catch and I say free SHS and yadepa and then free SHS mona what they buy.
No, but I don't think I'm say as a Ghana for best subject Dr. Baumia to scrutiny.
Nobody say don't subject to Papa Nabeka Nasem Wednesday no beka. I said no can I want to ask them in church. No sir me catch I was a nipa no ne call alternative it is between the past or the future. Past meaning kukobon kikete and you do so
alternative
or the future and you Dr. Baumia
digitalization now
and you see you
but I'm for so be convince I want to see I 11 in free
oh president. You are the president. Who got to Obama Dr. Baumia and now got to Obama Nanado Dankwa Kufado. Nanado Dankwa Kufado make quite difference. Me me akwa yet. Some may I can say, I budget a year. Time and I go you live in a film. The next budget for 2024, you're passing, you are not ready to last year, you're passing. And you go here for Hifa. It's only free, so on a president. I feel nobody did the president. I feel in a mate, no, or by your driver. Driver back on what the car next man, now, what didn't walk across from. I will touch my question. I can't quite a car, maybe. And in the injunction violet, in the name crab, you know, I catch us a last journey before.
That's a Nessie. Yeah, that's it.
Last journey for
Hot 93.9 FM. So we are going to be soon every Wasuguso with you. Elena Madeko Casadman Pipia Manukuno Sasuna Haruna Amaliba and so Ewa Habi. Now Amaliba said, Adiano was see the as I say, car back on the mad driver, no, the Aquaku, or the Akunu.
It is very shocking and very surprising. To know the unprincipled nature of the MPP.
Samum.
Very, very
the unprincipled nature.
See,
one teacher so be our vision.
93.9.
Really? One more. This is a second or third thematic MPP near who defended Professor Mills.
Just say,
wow.
Hot 93.9.
The Mills had a record when he was alive. Almost 4 years. Please. I'll come to Kufuor record. I'll come to Kufuor record.
93.9.
Mo di Mills atemwa mane. Nana Kufuor called Professor Mills, Professor Doolittle, Meboa. And now, almost 10 years after his demise, Mills had a good economic foundation, but Mahama came and destroyed it. Have you seen them? And I am challenging Minia Bahamotier to mention one economic indices
93.9
or metrics. Yeah, and I better. I tell the president, let him mention one. But I just remember when he also do so. In as much as we admit, the information we are privy to.
But obey is here. I say we the obo actually can nafe. Yeah, the 24-hour economy in every why.
Hot 93.
Because of what I am privy to. But when I just this is Kufuor's own State of the Nation address. Kufuor, 2007. So that's the February 8, 2007. Tiasama Kufuor kind. We don't call page 4. Also, Mr. Speaker, I shall start my message with a report on the current crisis in the supply of energy in the country. I believe this will go a long way in reducing the anxiety and the fears of the business community and the general public. Power crisis. Then, Kufuor proceeded to give us the history of the power crisis in Ghana. First time in 1984, 1997, then 2006, 2007. As some by the Kufuor, or they also for Kugu Kosumo
93.9.
And NDC came under President Mahama, inherited the problem and solved it.
What is that Kufuor solution was?
That was Kufuor's solution. Generators are covered by no. We could go now. We have VRSU. I tell you no. Also, it was toy generators. Mina Mekayana. Kufuor did nothing to solve it. It was President Mahama who solved them so. Okay? Mahama solved them so a year 4 years as
Hot 93.
Mama transfer under Kufuor. Come on here, come on, boom, money here. Come on, show money now. Solve the problem now. Mahama and the transfer and with that problem. And Mahama came and solved the generational problem. Okay? And so therefore, they have nothing to talk about.
But that's it. Your 5 minutes on 24-hour economy na Sanibia. You have a course kakra.
So how do you appropriate the time? Because it's like, what do you train Ricardo do? Of course, that's the way I think.
24-hour economy.
No, that's the way I think.
Yes,
when are we stopping?
But your bottle
and then it's almost 3, right? Then if you didn't portion your time right. See, the MPP are days. And I'm not surprised, Amaka say, 24-hour economy on Tiasie. On Tiasie, so on Tiasie.
Okay, so on Tiasie, so that. Obi days here, either say, Wafa Bibia man, and so now, Breno Mabrana, so Mafa Bibi, and Oma Daisy. And your police now ball Monsoon and more. That's right. And you get a Mamadou, make one point Tiasie. On one bread, Mose and your papa. On another bread, Mose and Hoda. On the other hand, Mose Montiasie, in Tiamoday. Almost good. If they need an explanation, we will give it to them. Ghana for Tiasie. Right? Ghana for Tiasie. Take your microphone and go to Bakola and ask the women. Say President Mahama policy 24 hours. No, netie and someone make a phone. They don't suit it.
93.9.
But the more they try to punch holes, the more they're angering the people. Baby, I ever been doing here as a bino. Huh? Or man Japadina, so Tonga. Yes, I'm so decoy actually.
Sir, no, dear, that
no, that's never happened before. Sir, your debt to GDP, I exceeded 100%. But now we have gotten there. 104% to GDP. The acceptable threshold for a less developed country like Ghana is 70%. Yeah, trouble as we speak, Ghana in Biom. Government is also servicing our debt. Even bondholders simple abandoned me into Omoka. This is where we are today. So imagine the mess Mahama is coming back to inherit. If Mahama have left that mess to you, NDC can do it.
Hot 93.
We know how to do it, and Mahama will come back and put the.
But your time need to adapt 24-hour economy.
24-hour economy. Yeah. The concept is very simple. You work 24 hours a day, divided by 3, about 8.
Okay.
Right. Traditionally, Ghana for except few entities, you surrender about 5 and 7 8 near Koduma 8 near report near upon 5 which means you do 8 hours near the 16 hours na koda Wusu o man be no bit matumpo using the system
yeah that do
because yes yeah that do per se but your productive hours are very less than the productive hours so and the emphasis studio higher way here no and your factory you produce my father say boxes of chalk for example and that's a tin tomatoes within the first 8 hours no workers in some bar money for 5 we produce some fund say 15,000 boxes okay within that 8 hours no we are planting your tomb this or China Biom but anajono I dear best the remaining 6 hours na kano 2 set of people with have a Biom or 2 set with biaba for example my first batch I'm only 5 from we first 8 hours na mo call now another batch abeje the second 8 hours no now 16 hours almost call now another batch so abe take it over from ho so no so cover the next 8 hours no but so near cover 28 hours 24 hours no the 3 shift system Biom say do daytime one the demand of power is very high because plants are running people are working and all of that even if you cry television but there are about 10 or 11 near 2 TV no be akoda enti your idle power during the night but also the level of power you consume during the night is very less. Now this government policy kicks in the 24-hour economy no President Mahama change 93.9 and you compulsory say beyond 24 hours but we will use an incentive to attract businesses to enroll. How do we do it? There's what we call time of use tariff meters. Time of use tariff meters no you calibrating meter no such that a do night now it will read less. What it means is that so when you're a businessman now we use power in the night to produce we will incur less operational cost.
And when men shas here papa because me kakrebi one etie me bia we bia ye kwa adwuma we condition won so udru fia na adwode won say bia hurum but won say we so condition dey tin power partners we so da be so air condition bia masa we so to aso 3 days power besa but mind you one so air condition no bet me under light ni be say 2 weeks now that so the light differences there because
there are lots of differences. One say so about household power consumption meters are store Emma household no different from the old store the industry.
Okay. Meter na feni ebe kra na sa feni ebe calibrate the
amount. Of course, those things are very common in the system. Either we will bring them or they're in the system. That's the policy.
Purposely for the night.
Purposely for that.
Okay.
This is why in fact we make an industry now operate at night. You pay less tariffs on the power you
with
consume.
That particular meter.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's why we said that a time of use calibrated meters. Meaning daytime meter no it was said of machine or say the reading no can it change itself automatically.
Okay.
So do that time now the meter will read less so that you as a businessman or production of within that hours it will cost you less.
Now say daytime power poor baby at now then you work at night sun me.
Yes sir don't power poor baby at night. No yes sir power
especially where by person use power more.
You know something?
Yeah.
The cost components have to be fixed in. For example, we produce daytime one. Maybe okay cost by say maybe 20 unit 20 series if I say 20 series per unit.
Yeah.
That's what I incur during the daytime. But in the night,
not 5 cities.
Yeah, 5 cities per se. In fact, I produce by 16 cities per unit. I have less cost of that production as compared to the night.
Okay.
Therefore, I'll produce more during the night. Okay. Do you get that? Good. And it is the 3-shift system on the base of these incentives, and not only the use of time of use tariffs and the other government policy directive or focus. Government can decide that men are the sole custodian of collection of taxes. If their workers are enroll on, no companies are make a companies on running 24 hours.
Yeah, now we see 4.
Yeah, we see 4. No, 24 hours. No. Maybe there are certain tax components. For instance, income tax on your workers. No?
Yeah.
I may take say 50% or even 30%. So that the remaining amount now Akano will be the profit margin for the businessman. So that you can be able to raise enough revenue, expand your market, and then create more jobs.
Okay.
Do you get it? This is mainly the basics explanations I can give on the trade
for now.
No, because of time. But I don't know whether you'll be able to appreciate the American. It is primarily creating a 3-shift system with a less cost of production.
Okay.
That will target the business community on that tax or that how do you call it 24-hour economic policy system. No.
Okay.
So that by marketing produce more, more exporting more, more generating more revenue. Economy activity inside.
That's right. 24-hour economy, yes. And for now, I don't know. You so say
we can expand to other
time. Yeah, no, time no more. Yeah,
we can.
Yes. I don't know. Say 24-hour economy. And no, a game changer. More crash shocking. More kakra people.
Me produce pineapple juice. Me see. So when said me produce it. Me small factory now me one. Saa mo 24-hour economy no so fa so ma me no enne sen if you say be juice no ni pa to a na me produce it is an adwena a wo se ma ya nkoda na mintina factory ho na me produce na ni pa na e to no na ma ko produce pineapple juice na egu ho a me to ama hwan ade cha be obi ama to ama hwan hwe business aye so your business na otiase a demand and supply your production you say I buy production I buy company
yes
me private woman na me pineapple juice no obi ni ho beto me pineapple juice na me produce go me mo sa aka no
did o se da be produce no me nya na awia
nya na awia
because
Wusu adenti na nyam kupo abo me say awia ketekete me da ho a me wa hoden a me nkum a me operating machines me me workers me ya awia ni ya da ni ya da na less cost
yes power no
asema okay to Agya Wusu awia ketekete wo ho ma ntimi nya me na awia no anajo na me workers nya na move na ye ko ni akwa ye adwuma na
so na go benya na at a lesser cost
why na try say lesser cost to when Dabi you kasala man kasala ma min che Agya Wusu ba me ma say almost 5
Dabi was say bia SM chairman ha bia no
you don't allocate the time Agya Wusu if you had paid attention to my explanations now, me demo question now.
Yeah.
I just give you a headline explanation of it. You get that?
Yeah.
Let me say the main idea is to create a 3-shift system.
Yeah.
That's number 1. Number 2, let me say the demand for power during daytime is mostly high.
Yeah.
But during the night,
yeah.
The idea in the engine say companies should close production daytime and run night.
Okay.
That's what I mean here. What I'm saying is that we are looking at an option now. A better economy are running 24 hours continuous.
That's right.
That's happening in other places.
Yeah.
Ghana for your production and all private businesses and you are
private businessmen. Okay.
Me na me sure yen am say me pineapple juice na me pineapple juice. Until me busa say mo 24-hour economy no. Me se demand ni ho se me produce pineapple juice me nye me oye chalk se school phone ka so bo pe chalk and demand no for chalk no ho a onye 93.9 nto mo be ye de no make sure say demand no ebeba me yetimi aye adwuma najo question me bisa no mo me say ba cho kasa man kasa because asoma wo kan mo policy statement no menti ase e say we share yen here me say me business me akwuni me say ye business me produce fruit juice it training say mother ku no nkrofo mo na awia afiti anopa ko pe 6 wo share ye madwuma da na anajo wonu workers nyina ma ba be so mo machines no anajo no meja me ma ho no meja me busuafo no ma so ya betina factory ho no ma ba be ye pineapple juice efi say wo so ba be free light
On car free light.
Now remember
what's the cost on a beba form?
Every number from pineapple no born a beba form, bottles born a beba form, light no born a beba form. Can you born no see a beba form? How is it going to come down? Remember meter for some no see meter. Why you calibrate the meter? It's Eliano na me yede. Eliano nyam ko pon dia ma ye see ye adu.
Eliano metimi akopra ship e wo ma cleaners metimi edi ka.
Eliano no akopra for ni kan no metuo ka anajo no so mo kwa na ye tuo ka. How does this sound economical to you? Me ye business me nyesika o. Obi o ye business onye so benye sika. Enti asem me pese me kaman nsi ni say. Me ti we me nya order. Na ya ma me order bi wo hate me ma me be 10,000 bottles. That goes about 1,000 cartons.
Okay.
Na ni pa na egia. Bra, anadwo kra ye be ye adwuma. Christmas time, me ni me workers bi ho 1 week. Me yanko fie because orders wo ho. So orders wo ho automatically you 24 hour economy.
3.9.
Ya ye betire mu aye 24 hours. E you demand because order
aba.
Order ni ho a ye nkonko na factory ho 24 hours enye hwe. Enti ade na omo ka na omo nkonko hye ni yie. Na nsuti yan ye purposes. Many order.
Sabon.
Me kwa na factory why dey.
The artisans for na ye
kan. Enti se si aye ka se e ma na pa ma hwehwe. Obi o pa ma de bro nyen. So we need be sim stress. We need sim stress. We nim so na ye.
Oye adwuma.
Oye adwuma bi nkrofo jo montare. Even no mo ye nails. Me timi kwotena no oye me nails man say. Me timi kwotena ha anaju 12.
Man ya fe na adu so.
Na fe na adu me so. Enti depending on the demand. Nipa kono be adwuma. Enti asema mu kan it does not fit into our system. Na me pa achiro.
But mo just
say economy no che say omo policy statements omo anyi hu yo mo ahwenye systems ni ye no ho aka because say demand ni hu a me kwa kwotena ho produce fruit juice na si ho ama wan. Ah metimi aye na awia. Enti nyanka me ye na awia na me shiti nko na anaju because we so be ma free electricity. NDC so be ma wo electricity abafom. NDC.
Ada wunyi ni send this be male.
Omo abremu e kopim say. When to your light car. Omo abremu. Witimi to your light car. So me edum kan ya. Refi. Ye dum kan ya no kwa na electricity bill na ekoso. Refi.
No but 24-hour economy ni nyala
light ni be ye. John Mahama light one of kan
ko say voluntary nya by force say bia to say dey okay.
By force I
demand ni be wi to say nya by force.
Nipa na ni ji hu so obe ba be obeye. Na wa de na yeye. Se nipa na ni hu ase enye yi. One mreso light cry say be my light 24 hours go be ntimi amaye. Ye da dum so wu fie nan. Edu so out me go 2 weeks and a refi. How are you going to give us electricity for that 24 hour?
So is it say 24-hour economy no enye feasible and say
feasible. Just almost go to some no me can train ye. Yeah, business me are very small scale. Make sure.
Did you more can ye?
So far no more can dey.
They say do that can convince you about say artisan for no so na dey na.
Well the ni na artisan ni no bi abra ne order wi na wi akete that so can here. Wi that. No be ya no so be hye ne ma obeso ne machine no dey aye aduma no ntwen anajo waso flag lights. Wape security.
Hot 93.
But bet me after 0554 and also 744556. But it's menum pe
Ministry of Information and Adjunct Crofort Agric Ministry and Adjunct Ebinum Banopa and I've been Ebinum Quagma.
Yate, Yanko 0552 179180. Why? About you didn't baby free. Hello, what's we didn't baby free? Why? Hello.
Hello.
Who also?
Pastor Femi Bright and Mikasa Frabo so kind.
Bright means you.
My means you are honorable Amaluga. Yami Insani
3.9.
With your consent except Ghana for any people for any that down Kwana.
Hot 93.9.
If you want this is one factory, no. We are then our factory. That factory now, we do na you with their factories no. Our we discuss a crazy command control now we do. One factory.
93.9.
24-hour economy there. A idea Ghana for Agya to say. A idea that man, I'm used to now. I'm used to now.
Yeah, that's it. Why about no about turn and we have a building baby after free.
Hot 93.9.
Upon you also didn't baby after free me until why? Hello? Hello? Yeah.
Hello?
Hot
93.9.
Yet you.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
It's a Malibata. Mammy, know what you want to know. I think I'm who say MPP for no bad time and you or bad time fan and you know. There come, don't share. What she say next time of the tonight, I know I can. Yeah, I'm supposed to that one. The only now all come, they are beating. It's not that they all come. They say only the FM organ, I need dry egg organ, only dry a woman. And I will bet now, but we are the idea back then, yeah, and on the moon. Who then I can win? And so what she said, yeah,
that's it. That's one question. We didn't baby after free.
The patrol of Femi, who free at me.
My team.
The patrol, everything for policy 24 hours. In Ghana, no government sector. A Juma in a band, Kuta, a bit more prove I say 24 hours now on working.
Say a volunteer why and you by force.
And that's the other mine. Because I buy a Jumano, I hear my way to Kuta 24 hours. Individual work is a song, you know. None are doing this in the Panaco because of the energy limit in my for my man, never for my hand, Amano. What could few more change? I feel now to my bed to a transfer in my idea. That's your mamma when you so bit to me at the same police.
Yate, we didn't baby after free.
Hot 93.9.
Upon you also didn't baby after free into you.
I'm in the mic from a Cassia.
Mike into you.
The city is out of power. You used to look at that boy because the system of mine corner. Yeah, we are talking one friend and a form band the engineer. MVP in it on all Canadian. So enjoy.
Yate, yeah, that's open. You didn't baby after free.
Hot 93.9.
Hello? Okay.
Hot 93.9.
Mate, you better from a so big enough so far enough. Why? Hot 93.9 FM. Biom Jumedi so and a re etnasea. Yes, she said the bro. Haruna Maliba AND cinema perio bekan so and Ellen Amadeko and so MPP nima pa sampen free and no musin kunya head be sia na baby edri and papa sha ada Maliba sister bibi
final comment. Oh
yeah, we'll be a final comment.
Final comment.
Final comment is on 24 hour.
24-hour economy no. Yeah, sorry say I papa teacher. Amaliba bibi o na person.
I can see the confusion not only in the head of Alhaji Mahamadou Bawumia, but many about there for instance. Because when we are talking about production, we are talking about marketing.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Now, we didn't hear Joe so answer your fancy.